Grand finals of today's ESL Open Cup Europe number 42. We get a Clem Reynor finals. Reynor has had a pretty good set of results in these events when he plays, but he doesn't play all the time, which is obviously why he's not won as many as some of the others. I'll have all the stats for you guys in a second. First of all, let's intro some players. In the bottom left-hand side, we do have our Blue Zerg player from Clash. This is Reynor. In the top right, our Red Terran from Team Liquid. This is Clem. Alright, game number 1 of this best of 5, and excited to see kind of how this goes. So basically, Clem's won the last 3 of these in a row. He's won 6 in total. Reynor has won 5 of these in total, and he has won 3 in a row himself at one point. He did beat Clem in 2 of the finals that he played in. And Reynor, I think this is only the 7th time he's entered a cup. I think he won 5 times, came 2nd place once, and that's it. I don't think he's ever been knocked out before the semis, and I think that's just how many times he's played. So if you think about it, Reynor's performance in this event is dominant, but of course he doesn't play these events as frequently. As we do have our Ovi coming up through the center of the map. Hatch, Gas, and Pool on the way in from Reynor. As we do just have our couple of extra drones on the way into this. Very, very standard so far. So yeah, I mean, real storyline, because obviously Reynor and then Clem, these guys, they play a lot. You know, we really see these guys play pretty much all the time when it came down to those events earlier in the year. Now with DreamHack being on, there's been less online stuff happening, and in fact, these guys have only recently played in DreamHack. In the fall event, they played a couple of times. In fact, they played 3 times in the fall event, and then they played once in the summer event. And then before then was an ESL Open Cup, and that was kind of back when then they played all the time in April and May and March. They played like so frequently, it was actually ridiculous. And what I love about the results from these guys is that Reynor, I think, has got a better overall set of results against Clem, but if you look at Reynor versus Clem this year, it's very close. In fact, if I very quickly put this on as the last thing I'll do, if you put any results, if just after like 2020 starts, the results get very close. 43% map win rate for Clem against Reynor, and a 45% series win rate against Reynor, which is not bad. They're pretty evenly matched. I would even argue that a couple of those matches shouldn't really count because Clem was kind of playing for nothing. It was in the Zelnaga Finest event where he won a bunch of them, and after you win the tournament, you play against Reynor in a show match. Now, the first time around, Clem actually won like a monitor, but the next time around, Clem had nothing to play for, and it was very apparent in those games that he wasn't playing 100%, right? So, to me, I would even argue those stats are extremely close to being 50-50 this year, though Reynor has bested him the last couple times they've met up. And it really has been that Reynor style that's been tricky for Clem to deal with. But the thing is as well, when they've not played for a while, I feel like Clem comes in with a little bit of a few stylistic changes of his own. And it takes Reynor a little while to adapt, to figure out, and to start doing this again, you know? So yeah, I really get excited for this series because it has been over a month since they last played. And I think this could be a really great best of 5 because I know that both of them are really serious too. Like, these kids do not mess around. They both really go, like, full throttle, no slowing down at all. They want to win. You know, they don't care that this is just the ESL Open Cup. $200 first place, $100 second, ESL points on the line. It's still a big deal. Yeah, it's not a DreamHack Finals, but these guys don't care. They will give it their everything, I think, in this. As Clem, for the second time today on Pillars of Gold, is going to open up with some Hellbats. So, a Hellbat opening here, and I like it. It's the same as the last series in the semifinals. Clem opened Hellbats game 1, and to me, it just gives you that sense of danger if you're Reynor, right? All series long now, you've got to think, is he going to go Hellbats again? Oh no, what if he does? You know, I've got to play around that. All that kind of stuff. So definitely some things to worry about. As the extra Hellions coming through, he has our medevac with the 3 Marines in tow as well. So all of this coming across the map as these Hellions get set to go. The few Hellions coming through and ready to move down into this bottom side. Couple of Overlords going to go splitting themselves off, and here come our Marines. Well, I mean, Hellions didn't even morph into Hellbats just yet. Gonna morph in this mineral line next to this morphing Spore Crawler. Now, there's a spine on the high ground. That means Clem can't really push up into the natural. So what if he just forces the fight down here onto the third base? Going for that Cloak Banshee follow-up as well. I don't think he can push up into the natural at all, but maybe you can do something over here. It might even be okay just to keep the Hellions alive. You know, if the opportunity isn't there right now, yes, you've invested into an armory, but you stop the third base from being drawn for a little while here. You forced a Spine Crawler. Yeah, it's not the best case scenario, but I think it might be better to argue that keeping the Hellions alive is a little bit more valuable than just derping in to try and trade out for whatever at this point. This is nice, right? These drones maybe now are a little bit vulnerable. The first Banshee's coming down to the bottom side of the map, and there's definitely, I mean, look at the Spore here. It's a bit to the left, so these couple of drones definitely in a bit of danger to that Banshee play, as our Lings are going to counterattack into a completed wall-off, so no access allowed into the natural. It's just, it just isn't allowed, right? You just aren't going to get in there, so not all happening just yet. Lings trying to break through these depots as a few SCVs pull in to repair it. Another Banshee pops out, comes to the side. Starport's going to move up to the top. I'm just going to be seeing the factory setting up onto the reactor as well. Lara is coming through as our Hellions go roasting up a few Zerglings initially. Now, we do have the Banshees out down the bottom. SCVs are going to move over into that third base, get mining over there as the Banshees coming through, and they are able to pick up a drone already. So the first drone goes down. A couple of extra extractors on the way out, and just going to still see our Banshees in the middle of the map right now. Going to get a couple creep tumors, so some creep being picked away at. I like it. Getting rid of a bit of creep spread here at the moment. Now coming up through the top. I can maybe do something out over toward the left side of this. Lings and Banes still gathering together. A couple extra Widow Mines on the way out. Now Banshees are still firing onto this hatchery. The Overseer of Reynor coming across, and the Lings are pretty okay in the main base, and with the Queen support, we'll be able to deflect that medevac. Now the Banshees get into the main, and a few more of these Lings will be going down. So a few more Lings being picked away, and now Queen's in a bit of trouble. I like what the Banshees have done. Like, it's not been a ton of damage all at once. It's not been, you know, immediately like, oh my god, that's so much. But it's adding up, right? And he loses one Banshee now. He's going to come over here and support this little drop for a while. Gets the drone, trying to make a fifth hatchery. Fourth base took a lot of damage too, and maybe that's now a target for later. I think it's okay. Reynor's going to be finishing his own upgrades. As obviously Clem's about to get his own upgrades finished too, so it looks as though we're going to be even across the board in that regard. A drop alert from Reynor as he sets up some Baneling drop action to start moving across the map as well. Clem does not waste any time going to Drilling Claws either, by the way. Straight to Drilling Claws as he has got a few Widow Mines. Where are those Widow Mines right now? They're not in a medevac, are they? No, they're just with the main army, which is pushing the bottom. And with these Hellions, by the way, still around, you've got a very tanky frontline army right here. And this could be a bit of a problem. Let's see how Reynor deals with this. These Widow Mines somehow get killed before they fire. What? Well, that's crazy. This Widow Mine shot is a little bit better, though. Actually getting to connect it all is obviously an improvement at the moment. As a few Banes make it into those Marines. I'm a little bit late to lift. This attack on the left side will not do much. And now the Baneling drop moves into the third mineral line. And Clem is busy across the map, still making things happen. Goodbye. 8, 9, 17 SCVs killed by the Bane drop. Huge connections there as Clem pulls back up the right side to the top of the map. Widow Mines setting up as well. It's just we've seen our Overlord here gets killed too. So picks that one off as Combat Shield coming in. Drilling Claws still setting up. We've seen the few Lings and Banes continuing up to the center. You have a few more Marines around the left here. Widow Mine goes to try and connect. Doesn't get too much done. A few Banes get blown up though. A lot of Lings up the top side. I mean, Bio in the wall off, so we'll deflect this run by. Problem is, if Clem didn't lose those 17 SCVs, imagine how good a position he's in. I tell you what I love about this, though. These Lings are kind of trapped in. So as the Bio gets here, I mean, how many SCVs are you really killing? 6? But that's a hell of a lot of Zerglings. They had no way to get out. There's just no way to... There was nowhere to go to. Look, Banshee shows up here. It's going to rally onto a few different drones as well. So Clem's going to get some return fire this time around into this mineral line. And Clem is going to pick off a huge amount of drones, really. That's 8 kills on this Banshee just then and there. Fantastic job, and now making a push down the left. That 5th base does not have a lot of creep in front of it. As Reynor launches another counterattack up through the top side. Planetary Fortress morphing. That'll be cancelled for now. Well, will it? Marine's coming over. We also have this push down the bottom at the same time. Banelin's trying to connect through. Widowmine's connecting on the Overseer there. The split has to come in. Clem re-engages from the right. On the other side of the map, these Lings have won out, so they are still doing well. We'll check in on this again in a few moments, because right now, this fight's still happening. Another wave of Baneling's ready to go from Reynor. Wow, just endless waves of units ready to go. And now the next, this wave of units actually just goes across the map for the counter, because everything's in the sky and medevacs for Clem. So maybe an opportunity for Reynor to just pull Clem apart here, as Clem has not quite got enough up, arguably, as he regathers himself. The biggest issue is if he gets this 4th base cancelled again. The longer you don't mind from that 4th, the worse this is going to be naturally. And yeah, right now he's really struggling to get it up at all. Lingbane threatening to continue through now. Going to turn around back toward those Banes, but it's so scary. He can maybe kill off a couple extra. Now there's only 2, and you could argue Clem's in target fire mode. He gets one of them, and he will chase another, and he will kill that as well. So he cleans out. He gets the 4th base running. Another Baneling drop lines up from Reynor, though, over to the right-hand side. He's going to move into this 3rd, and yet again, it's SCVs going to the slaughterhouse. 19 workers killed, and he's just going to save this Baneling for... No, don't do it. Don't do it! Oh, my God. It was a good effort, right? Saved by combat. Honestly, that was a pretty good effort. I'm not going to lie, from Reynor. I thought it might have been done. I thought it might have been good for a few Marine kills. All right. Widowmine kills the lead in Zergling as another counterattack shows up. This is always what we used to talk about with Reynor. The counterattacks would never end. A lot of Zergs adopted this style because of how successful players like Reynor were with it. And so nowadays it's a lot more normal to be like, oh yeah, he's just countering again and again. But, Reynor really defined this style, in recent years alongside Serral. And it's one of the things that makes this ZvT matchup so thrilling to watch, this constant action back across the map. Right now, Clem, he's very all in. He doesn't have the worker count to keep on fighting. He needs to make something happen, and he knows it. And that's why he walks onto creep to try and take this fight, but it's just no good. And he knows as well. Like, this is like a Clem, what the hell are you doing moment? But he knows he needs to do something, so he knows it's his only chance. He knows it's not the good decision. He knows it's not the right way to do things. But he also knows it's his only chance to really make something happen there. GG's. And that's going to be Clem. As we will start off in the bottom right-hand side. Down a map. The red Terran player from Team Liquid is Clem. And I think a big portion of that is obviously some of those Baneling drops were very effective. But another part of that was truly the fact that he just couldn't quite control the 4th base going down, right? And without being able to control the 4th base going down, he really did run into a bit of trouble. As he got in the top left. Our red Zerg player played fantastic. Reynor. Now, I was wondering where this SCV was headed to, and I'm like, well, it can't be a proxy Rax because he didn't even build a depot yet. But it's going to be Rax on the low ground, so it's going to be proxy Rax Reaper. As we get this one set up to go. So first Rax already down, second Rax coming in. Did I say proxy Rax Reaper? Obviously not proxy Rax Reaper, but multi Rax Reaper. Sorry, I don't know. I can't remember what I said. And I feel that I said proxy Rax by mistake. But multi Rax Reaper. Now the way this second Rax is finished to me kind of makes me think we'll probably see a third Rax here as well. Now it's fun to see Clem doing this because Bjorn obviously returned to playing recently, and Bjorn has also done some bits and pieces like this as of late, and has actually shown us some amazing, and I truly mean some amazing, Reaper play in TVZ. So I'm kind of excited by the prospect of seeing Clem bring a bit of Reapers to the TVZ. Very interesting that he chooses to do this on Submarine, a map that's typically good for Terran players anyway. And now putting it kind of on the line with a Reaper play is something that you could argue doesn't really benefit from the map as much. Obviously, size of the map does come into play a little bit. So reinforcing Reapers will show up a bit faster. So that's one thing to think of. So there is something to this, as we do see our first Reaper making its way to the upper left. And away we go. 2 more Reapers in production. Things on the way out. Obviously, Reynor realizing what's going on here with the Overlord Scout means that he immediately knows, okay, cool, well, it's the React Reaper. So he's going to start up more than just the initial 4 lings. He already made 8 and then more on the way. And so, yeah, the question to me is he's obviously going ling speed right now, and I think that means he's just going to be stuck on ling speed. The other option is to go into like a Roach Warren, right? And if you go into a Roach Warren, then you can go Roaches, and Ravagers do outrange Reapers. And you can have success there. A lot of players more recently seem to prefer the ling-based defense. As soon as you get ling speed, the Reapers have to be very careful with the fights that they take, because otherwise they get in trouble. So a lot of this comes down to how much damage can Clem do in the next 30-40 seconds. And he start doing enough to kind of throw Reynor off already, perhaps. And see what he's trying to do. He's trying to get damage onto those queens. Trading out against lings, reducing their numbers for when ling speed kicks in is a big part of this as well. This is nice, because now he's actually really starting to deal damage. And that's a good grenade, because it separates the queens. So the queens can't just sit there and all fire at once. So he gets a queen kill. Great grenade there, and that's exactly the sort of damage you're looking for as Clem. As he now backs off just as ling speed is finishing. He's going to back away for a little bit. Now he's actually adding on 2 more barracks behind a command center. So 5 racks of probably Reaper production here. As we go out to the left-hand side, the lings are going to go darting down the bottom right. The extra Reapers continue to come in and just going to be seen. I love this. Like, he's got the Reapers defensively at home, but now he's got the Reapers offensively, and Reynor doesn't have everything back at home to defend. He gets a drone, he gets a ling. The only scary part of this is maybe that these lings can catch reinforcements. Obviously, I was actually also going to say maybe they can get a flank. That's sad. He loses 2 Reapers there. Clem, little mistake. And especially when you want to keep building Reapers, obviously every single one of those becomes important. I do wonder if we build anything at some point here to really start, working against this, right? These Reapers chase those lings up the right side. A few of them stuck in the center. I mean, just worried about these lings getting a full surround on these Reapers. That's what the grenades are meant to help out with. Clem's going to try and work his way down to the bottom side. If he can get down there, he can hop up into the natural. Good grenade so far to remedy the problem, but still feels like he's losing a lot of Reapers. He goes +1 attack. Actually, it's funny how much +1 attack does for Reapers. They start shredding, because you don't really usually realize a +1 attack upgrade on Reapers, because when do you ever see Reapers, right? But in this scenario, +1 attack kicking in, you'll actually notice it quite a bit, I think, is... You can see that's a dead hatchery. And one of the big things about playing through React Reaper like this is that you do delay the 3rd base by a huge amount. Right, this is 5 minutes, and that 3rd just has to start rebuilding again. And now Clem's actually got a Reaper count to realistically come in here and fight these lings off. And then maybe he's got a Reaper count to go back across the map and try and deny the 3rd once more. Dangerous game that he's playing. The few lings still hanging out over to the side. Reapers are going to make their way up to the top. And like I say, you can put some pressure onto that 3rd hatchery once more. Another grenade. More of these Zerglings running in. The Reaper's going to get stuck in the corner. It's a lot of Reapers. I like where the grenades are going down, because it's bouncing a lot of the lings and getting damage done. But the Reapers are going to lose out in the fight. Clem gets cleaned up. I mean, it's not like a lot of lings survived. You look at resources lost, and it's actually pretty even in a game where Clem has effectively mined more and currently mining more. So there's still benefits to this. He gets a creep tumor. Trying to guess where that other one is incorrect, unfortunately. He's still building Reapers, by the way. Now building 7 Reapers at a time. I mean, it feels like now more than ever it's important to keep this Reaper count up, and he does turn those lings around. 7 Reapers at once. Finally, a Baneling Nest from Reynor as well. Now, I don't think Banes are super scary until they get Bane speed here, but once they get Bane speed, I mean, surely then they are just freaking terrifying. Gets a ling. Drones in production. More Reapers on the way out. Baneling speed is on the way up right now as well from Reynor's. Again, it's ready to go. Reaper is going to grab another Zergling. I like that Reynor's finally on his way to his own melee upgrade too. He actually got Carapace, so it does help the Ling survive Reaper shots, of course. Ranged units Having melee units against ranged units, obviously you generally do want that armor upgrade because you're going to be taking more shots than you're dealing. You can see Reynor setting up for the surround. He's not happy with it though, so if you're not content, back away and look for a different one. Don't try and push something that just might not work. 9 Reapers building at a time from Clem as he tries to keep up the pressure. The Lings are still looking for surrounds, maybe even just again cutting off some of these reinforcing Reapers. Somehow at the moment the Reapers are dodging Lings left, right, and center. Finally, Lings will find one Reaper. Bane's on the way up, and we're getting dangerously close to Baneling's speed. That Queen Nelly went down. And that's how many Reapers we're at right now with +1 attack. I love these Lings. I think they are doing a fantastic job of moving around the bottom side of the map and really trying to find a way to catch a Reaper here, catch a Reaper there. He's been very active with them while also keeping them kind of close enough to come back home to defend if needed. You can argue that's one of the ways that maybe Clem gets punished for using, this build on a smaller map, right? Easier for Reynor to move units one way and then bring them back the other. There's a lot of grenades going down. You can't get surrounded because then the Banelings are going to connect. If the Banelings connect, well, you basically need a grenade the Banelings away forever, because if the Banelings get on top of your Reapers, everything's going to die. I mean, I don't even know how you commentate this fight because it's just ridiculous, but the Banes are going to reach the Reapers. GG, is that it? No, Clem's going to stick around. He's going to try and take a third base, but he lost everything. Reynor's going to come across both Banes, bust through the front, and he's going to end this game, I think. I don't think there's two ways about it. Is that just going to run in? He's going to come in for a potential surround right here. The Reapers get away to the high ground. That's good for the moment. I thought he was just going to morph Banes and go. And apparently he's going to do that now after checking if he could win with just the Zerglings. Ling's getting a mini surround here, catching a couple of the new Reapers as well. Obviously, Clem will micro what he can up to the high ground, but yeah, Banes just want to go and knock down this depot, because once this depot's down, access to the mineral lines opens. There is no wall off up in the main base, no proper wall off at least, and this is where it's all falling. I mean, it fell apart early from Clem. I think he's been living on borrowed time for a long time, actually, where he's just not really had anything for a while, right? Which has been really super effective here. Like, he lost the Reaper count early, and from there it's always difficult to get back. And yeah, right now a lot of SCVs going down. These Reapers in some serious trouble. And GG. There we go. Reynor takes it to a 2-0 lead here in this best of 5 grand final. Bottom right hand side, our blue Zerg player Reynor taking on our top left down 0-2 red Terran Clem. Gonna just straight up proxy racks for game number 3. This is not the Reynor Clem series I was looking for, guys. It was it really was not. Yeah, okay, well, proxy 3 racks are along the left side of light shade here. Reynor is going to take a turn up to come and watch this, and yeah, this is not going to... Oh, well, he actually goes further left initially. Maybe he misses it. No, he goes gas pool first. I actually think Reynor might have seen an SCV early. I didn't quite catch that SCV, but it came down here, then turned around. I think it might have been seen by the Overlord, so I think Reynor kind of knows anyway. I mean, he's doing a great job of not scouting what he seems to know about. Okay, now he finally sees a Rax. He's going to pull his Overlord off to the side. He's gone gas pool, which is literally the hardest counter you can get against this, because you get Link Speed, and Link Speed will just straight up deny the Marines. Like, the Marines can't kite against Link Speed or anything. I mean, it's just... yeah, I don't know. It's just rough. Alright, well, drone comes up here, goes around the back. It's a kind of a wall off, right? So the idea is that you can't actually chase SCVs around in certain directions, stuff like that. So yeah, it's kind of a smart position to build the 3 racks in. Okay, he doesn't even go Link Speed, he's just gonna go straight to Roach Roaring. And Clem, please don't just see the natural isn't there and leave, but at least try and fight this. Please, maybe, probably. Here's a couple Lings. Starts up a bunker. There's no natural. What are you gonna do about that, huh? Cancel the bunker. Go back home. Playing against a 1 base. What's gonna turn into Roach Ravager Rush. Obviously, V-Scout sees double gas as well. Clem falls home. I mean, 3 racks means you don't have gas for a long time, so you're playing on pure Marines that have to build in the middle of the map. So, I mean, this really ain't a pretty position at all. I mean, this is more or less worst case scenario. Ling's in the main base. It's just difficult to commentate, guys. This was not what we wanted out of a Clem Reynor finals. Where was the epic back and forth games? Where was the cool stuff? This is, I gotta say, a little bit of a letdown after what we usually expect from these two. It's only because what we usually expect is so good, right? And so fun. That first game was like a good start to the series, but Clem just, and you know, I guess game 2 was kind of fun as well. I just feel like it's been going downhill for Clem for a while. He's going to build tech labs out on the map. Lings are going to come over and find those add-ons building. Do you take the Ravagers over to deal with that? What do you do here? Maybe you do. Because these Marines can kind of fight the Ravagers in certain numbers. Once they get to the low ground, he's going to get a Ravager kill as well. I mean, these Marines are going to come forward and protect the barracks, which are building Marauders. Concussive shells will start. I mean, if there is ever hope. We've actually seen this follow up a little bit lately. Like somebody else did. I think Innovation might have done it. Maybe another Korean Terran. It's not the most unheard of thing. Would have been nice to have 1 Marine in this bunker just for this sort of reason. Virgin Ravagers hanging out on the right. Bunker will get salvaged and this depot will come down. Rest of the Ravagers over to the side. Marauders coming through. Concussive Shells isn't ready yet, though. So, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to stop those units from getting away. Which is obviously one of the main goals of this. You need the Marines behind it as well for the extra damage. It's a spine on the high ground. Now, spine on the high ground will be moved to the low ground right about now. What can these Marauders do? They're going to get a slow on a Roach. It's just too far away. It's a couple shots onto the spine. Obviously, you can work around the spine here still for a little bit. Remember, your 1 base is Clem, so you're really looking to do some serious damage with this, right? This is needing to be somewhat game-ending. More than anything else, you got to dodge the Biles. You cannot realistically take Bile shots if you want to win this. The Biles are so annoying, though, because they're going to force you to reposition a lot of the time. He's put the Marines on the right side, kept the Marauders on the left. Bile gets a Marauder. Oh, and another one. That's not the fights you need as Clem. A few drones pulling in to help out, try and soak some damage. Spinecrawl still quite far back. I mean, the hatchery took a lot of damage as Clem pulls back again. Scans to see what he's up against. Shuts down the creep tumor. That might actually be big. Does that receive the creep at all? Does a little bit. Some of these Marauders are super low. He gets the hatchery, so he puts Reynor down to 1 base. Is 1 base Terran 3 racks better than 1 base Zerg Roach Ling? I really don't know. Reynor doesn't really have the money to rebuild a hatchery just yet. Clem does have the money to expand. He's going running. Obviously, no link speed just yet as these Marauders take some hits. Problem is, all these Marauders are low, so every hit they take right now is really hurting. And this Marauder goes in a different direction. He can maybe slow a Ravager and get a catch. I like the usage of these line of sight blockers. Reynor doing everything he can to keep stuff alive. Okay, I was being all doom and gloom, but you know what? This is not doom and gloom just yet. This series goes on. Clem is going to start sending racks home. He's starting to expand. And dare I say, there is some hope against the Reynor, who is still on 1 base. Ravager gets caught. It's a dead Ravager. Clem has nothing at home to save him from this link counter. If he was expanding high ground, then maybe. He might be able... I mean, he needs to cancel this hatchery. He's going to double check there's not one up here. He needs to cancel this, build high ground. And then he just needs to go, no, you can go cancel this. Did you not see it? He saw it. I feel like he could have maybe got a cancel. Obviously, he disagrees. Maybe he's afraid of the Ravagers coming in, and then he feels like he loses the Marauders, and it's much more important for him to keep the Marauders alive. It means that the bases are going to kind of come up at the same time they usually would in terms of relation to each other. Oh, link speed is done. Huh. Well, now these Marauders have to try and fight Lings. But you know what? With a Hellion to support, that little bit of extra splash goes a long way to just soften up the Lings at the start of this. Now the Ravagers coming in from the other side. Corrosive Files are pretty good. A couple Marauders survive this. And honestly, that should be enough just to get in a... Well, the bunker's not there anymore. Cyclone on the way. Clem gets to the high ground. If he gets the Cyclone, he should be okay once again. This really has turned into something a little bit special. First fast coming down the Hellion, taking some damage. Ravager doesn't get caught. Now a few more of these Lings gonna get up this ramp and just gonna be seeing a couple more Marines popping out. Lings get taken down. T-pos are being caught. And the good news is with the Cyclone, you can maybe get through here to just chase these Ravagers down. Like, everything should, in theory, die to this. Including the Overlord that sits overhead. Reynor is now starting to drone off 29 workers. And yeah, like I say, this Overlord should go down too. Even if you try and get high ground vision, shouldn't make any effect. Banshee and a Siege Tank, and Clem survives. Up 10 supply even, coming out of this entire mayhem. Wow, that was really something, huh? Okay, you know what? Maybe this is the Reynor Clem series that we wanted. You know, you look at this game 3, and it's just weird and crazy enough that it's just two players playing a little bit kind of on the fly, figuring out what they're doing as they go, and just making it work, you know? It's pretty crazy. This Banshee gonna come around to the right. Ally upgrades coming in from Reynor. Stimpack is coming up from Clem. Banshee taking a few shots off damage. Reynor is maybe taking a few hits from this Banshee as well. Okay, I mean, the Banshee's obviously cloakless. It's only limited in how much it can do, but Clem's on the way to stim. First engineering bay is up, and a +1 attack upgrade started. He's got a 3rd CC ready, so he's going to be able to morph that in, and well, again, the work account looks playable to me. Doesn't get the Queen, chases up the ramp for it. Marines and a tank showing up. Clem wants to keep this aggressive right now as he comes in. He's going to get an Overlord. It's a big Overlord killer. Puts Reynor close to being supply blocked. If you found this one as well, it'd be that much better. I keep looking over here because I'm like, ooh, Terran units, and it's just those tech labs from earlier. And my natural instinct to click over there is already there, you know, like I've already done it. And then I'm like, God damn it, I've done it again. So if you see me going down here to click, I'm sorry. I mean, these Lings won't find anything on the counter because Clem pulled back at the right time, and now he takes the 3rd CC in position. The only thing I'm worried about is that he only goes 1 upgrade, so he's already slower on the upgrades. That'll be made up a little bit because the lair isn't done, but then again, you've only got 1 upgrade, so missing an armor upgrade. Are those Lings not just gonna shred the Marines? Well, possibly. Maybe that's just Clem's plan, though, to be as aggressive as possible as he goes to drop into the main. Stim is done, needs to remember combat shields. We know how important that upgrade will be. As he will deny the 4th base, no saving that. Alien Nest isn't ready. This is pure Lings up until now, so yeah, so far so good. Clem miss-microing the load up into Medivacs. I don't think I've ever seen Clem miss-micro something so simple. And he's up 20 supply at the moment. I just can't believe this game got 11 minutes deep, you know, with both players being in playable spots. Especially with Clem being in an advantage, right? Especially with how it went. Wow. Okay, well, I mean, these Lings going to start running in. Marines are going to unload, and a little bit of fancy micro from Clem to lift back up. There's that combat shield coming through. I mean, the reason Clem didn't go for the second engineering base is because he's basically going to 3-base all in. He basically wants to make this attack work, and he's got no follow-up. You know, he doesn't go armory for +2. So Clem's kind of all in, but all in with like a 30 army supply lead. The only thing I'm worried about is perhaps arguably the upgrades, and well, his 3rd base is completely open to the counterattack. So that's completely open to the counter. The Ling's going to run in there. The Marines will start a fight. Bane Speed's not ready yet. Spine Crawler from earlier in the game still around. Marines actually just show up and defend those Lings. So 6 drones going down. While Clem only loses 3 SCVs, he sees the Banelings as they run down this ramp. The tanks get sieged. Goodbye, Banelings. I guess goodbye a couple of tanks as well. That will do it. It's enough from Clem to take game 3. And the finals is still alive. What the hell just happened? We don't. Bottom right-hand side, our blue Terran player is Team Liquid's Clem getting that last map in a very unorthodox manner. But hey, it got the job done. Got the job done. Top left. Red Zerg from Clash. Give it up if you're cheering on Reynor. Fun game number 3, right? Really fun, really entertaining. You know, I wanted to go back a little bit to game number 2 and something that people were saying in chat just a little bit, because I didn't get the chance with game 3 kicking off early, and I went into my monologue about how Clem's dead and blah blah, and I was really sad, whatever. But people were saying, you know, why is Clem doing such a troll build in game 2? Like, what is this? Like, what the hell is he doing? Like, Multi-Rax Reaper and into, like, continued Reaper production is a pretty legit build. It fell apart, and obviously didn't work this time, but I mean, people do it for a reason. Clem's not just doing builds because they don't work, you know? Just wanted to address that just in case anyone's still thinking it, just to make you guys maybe think twice about talking again in the future, because like it just doesn't make sense. Like, why would Clem be... You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying, guys? Like, it's just a silly thing to say. Guess that's why you guys are Twitch chat, though. Twitch chat's real good at saying silly things. It's the Twitch chat specialty, really. All good, guys. Game 4. Let's get on this one, because it's the pool first, so arguably a bit aggressive from Reynor. Clem. SCV Scout sees the link, so gets the confirmation that it's a pool first. Wants to see the hatchery, because then he knows it's not gas pool. So now he knows it's just pool into the hatch. As that sets up and gets going. Couple links chasing that SCV. You're gonna see the factory in the main. As you look at Clem, who is building up a reactor. A few links coming down the bunker. And I want to set up. Oh, the Reaper is all the way across the map. I mean, did he really think it was only those 2 links? Perhaps SCVs will have to be pulled to help out. Doesn't want to delay the command center for all too long. Maybe gets the lane. We're just going to be seeing the starport now on the way up. Good defense in the end from Clem. 6 lings, no losses. Obviously a delay on the CC. It'll be a better defense if the Reaper is at home to begin with, but those are stressful situations. It's very possible Reynor leaves here with like 3 SCV kills, right? Like, I've seen Reynor before, you know, get into this position and get like 3 SCV kills, and then you know, as you know, the opponent then looks a little bit silly, right? But you know, it's just Reynor's that good at kind of controlling those units and moving them around and all that kind of stuff. As the Reaper makes its way to the top. Queens and Lings will move out the front here. There's the fusion core on the way from Clem in the main base. So he's going to play a little bit of mech. Or at least he's going to play a BC opener. He could play BC into bio, but he showed us a bit of mech in the semifinals against a laser. And I don't really see why he necessarily wouldn't go for a bit of mech here against Reynor. Like, he played good mech. I mean, it really came off an advantageous start, right? But if Clem's wanted to mix it up a lot, which he has been doing with the last couple of build orders, then yeah, that would be a good way to go about it. That's the BC. Marines would love to deny this info. It's a lot of Hellions moving onto the map. Good news is it's a Banelin nest before Lair or anything, so, you know, right from the get-go, it's a pretty big deal. It's just going to be seeing a couple Marines going to get that Overlord kill. Yeah, right from the get-go, right, it's good because if you go fast Spire, then obviously you're already going to help to, you know, have a better way to defend the BCs than, you know, more quickly. They have less opportunity to deal damage. Yeah, I think this is honestly a good little setup initially for Clem. Looks good so far. I mean, obviously that fast Spire play is really taking an exit from the meta, and Clem probably scares Reynor away from doing fast Spire plays because that first game Hellbite attack straight up kills someone who goes like 2.5, 3 base Spire. So it really kind of puts the, the wariness from Reynor to maybe not do something like that. So I kind of like it. This is going to be BC into Bio, by the way, so not going to be seeing any mech. BC teleports into the third phase. Hellions. Well, they kind of tanked the Baneling shot just on one Hellion in the back. BC's just going to pull away to the side. If the Hellions are still alive, that could be the problem here, as they have got drones ripe for the picking on the natural. The BC was a distraction. The Queens are out of the way. The Banes just didn't do anything, and that's 10 drones dead. Work count evens out. Lings show up to perhaps save any further drones from dying here, as Clem will trade for what he can. BC will come back in. Now the Queens are out of position. He'll find a couple more drones over here too. 3 more drones. BC gets up to 5 kills in total. And it's a good 1-2 punch from Clem. Playing Bio behind this, the immediate reaction from me is that he doesn't have much to defend if something was to bust through right away, but don't think... Oh, he just lifted the orbital off, though. The Lings are going to run and surround this army. Is it going to be okay for Clem? It looks like it might just about be. Can he save the tank? He cannot. So it's still a good fight from Reynor, right? It's still a siege tank kill where he wouldn't have gotten a siege tank in that scenario usually. But overall, resources lost. Great for Clem. And, yeah, I mean, now a Spire on the way, so it's not like Reynor's going to do anything overly aggressive again for a little bit. See that Bane speed coming up on the back of the natural. Battery building on the 4th. 1-1 upgrades on the engineering base. Combat shield in the main, and Medevac's going to load up a few Marines. You look to take them out across the map, so Marines loading up into these Medevacs are going to get set to move over to the upper left-hand side. BC teleports back across. Problem is the Muta's on the way now, so this BC is kind of gonna... As soon as these Mutas pop, it will be chased down and it will be killed. So we'll see what the BC can do. I mean, right now the BC's best move is actually just suicide into drones, I think. Of course, he doesn't know that because he doesn't know about the Spire necessarily. But this is good, 3 drones. But now he's trying to save it, and this is the issue, right? It's not savable. Because as soon as the Mutas show up, you just go and hunt that BC down. The only thing is, if you ignore it with the Mutas, that's possible too. Hey, Banes. He gets one of them, and then he doesn't get the rest. You can't really just ignore it with the Mutas. You could have gone across the map and maybe try to catch Clem unprepared to deal with Mutas, but that's just risky in comparison to just getting a guaranteed BC kill. I love this. BC target fires a Baneling at the end. Clem just finding any amount of value in anything that, in any way possible, right? Target fire into Baneling. Like, how often do you see that with the BC? Very rarely. Just as it's about to die, it's like, no, I'm not going to get a Muta. Baneling it is! Settles for that. Marines of Clem will go out the right side. Mutas of Reynor to go down bottom side as well. He's going to start fly in. Missile turret is good on the right. And Marine's going to intercept the Mutas for a couple kills. Thank you very much, says Clem. Alright, well, we're getting into a real kind of game here where I imagine Lingbane Muta... I know Reynor really doesn't like playing Lingbane Muta against Clem. It's something he's been very vocal about in the past, at least. That he'd often message me after playing against him. He'd be like, Wardy, remind me never to build a Spire against this guy again, right? Like, I don't like this Lingbane Muta. And it's one of the reasons he made Lingbane Hydra Lurker sort of work so well, because he didn't like playing Lingbane Muta. While the Zergs were happy with that, he really helped to push that Lurker style. Right now, we're going to see a Clem push that just seemingly unkillable. A little bit less splash damage available now. It's obviously 1-1 against 0-0, so the upgrade lead is a big part of this. Most of these Banes coming through. Mutas from the backside, helping to try and pick off a tank or so. Wouldn't just came off cooldown. What's it going to connect on? All of the Banelings in the backlines. There's just a few that were in front. That was a big connection on a few Banelings there. And the Widowmine's still alive, has 13 kills. It's a hero of a Widowmine so far. That was a good connection there. That's Clem. Even supplies as he goes back home. 4th base moving into position. SCVs are going to get ready to transfer over as well. Lamita's finally getting a chance to harass. Look at that, couple Widow Mines right off the bat, plus an SCV. Maybe we'll take those trades as Reynor. It's a great little catch. Mia's get in, they pick off a Marine. 2-2 on the way from Reynor. We're going to be seeing the Lings and the Banes still gathering up on the top. It's Clem. Still pushing through up to the top side. Those 2 armors really not far away as well, so he's going to have that complete 2-2 upgrade advantage to push with again. And look how far away 2-2 is of Reynor. We're talking about 90 seconds. But Clem has an upgrade advantage. Any fight he takes in these next 90 seconds are going to be purely beneficial to Clem for that exact reason. Overlord goes down, Middleless gets caught. Marines all splitting up there. Armidas are going to head into the bottom base. We'll check in on those in a moment, just watching to see if this Widow Mine does anything. It doesn't. Armidas got in for, it looks like the refinery and a couple of SCVs, or maybe, there can't have been that many SCVs because we don't see it on the side. So yeah, can't have been that many SCVs, maybe just a Marine or 2. Anyway, Armidas into the main base to harass, and there's a Thor that's boosting across to try and save the day. Thor that's also just popped out the factory. He straight up loses a barracks, and this buys Reynor so much time. Get more units out, more importantly, get closer and closer to that 2-2 upgrade setup. Because the 2-2 upgrades are really, I think, where this turns around. That's a dead medevac. He somehow doesn't get one shot. So the Thor gets down. That's big. You lose a Thor right away. That costs a lot as Clem responds to this quickly. No access to the bottom left-hand side. We're getting to 5 bases, and the question is, where does Clem take base 5? I think down the bottom is where he tried to take it earlier on today. Didn't have a lot of success with that against a laser for a while. Got into a very tricky scenario because of it as the bio. This is going to get cleaned out over here. Clem's reinforcements showing up. I don't think this is when you really want your reinforcements to show up, though. Nope. I don't think Clem quite realized they were all the way up there. Everything's split up in awkward positions. Reynor is just going to capitalize on this big time. Mutas are going to pick off all the medevacs that are on their own. What was that? Clem just fell apart. I mean, Reynor picks the right fight on the right side, but then the reinforcements running in from the left. I just can't possibly imagine that Clem knew his units were there. Scans the top side. He's going to realize the 5 bases are up, 96 drones, and I think that means that Clem is going to ready himself to tap out of this game. We'll take a rewind on that fight and maybe try and figure out just what went so wrong for Clem. GG is cold. I mean, obviously, it's just a very good... let's rewind. It's obviously just... I mean, it's a great catch from Reynor. It's around here. Let's watch it maybe from even Clem's point of view, right? It's just a little bit before this. Let's go like 12:30. Let's watch this from Clem's point of view. So Reynor already has a really good setup here, I think, guys. You know, Reynor is coming in from the upper side and the bottom left. So this army's already in a bit of trouble, right? But, you know, you clean out a bunch of the Banes. And I wouldn't necessarily say this is all that bad, especially if your reinforcements are down this bottom right side, right? Because if the reinforcements are down here, you can maybe save the medevacs. These Lings probably have to back away for the Banes to catch up. You save quite a lot. The supplies are okay. Yeah, Reynor's got a big bank and so on. But it's playable. But what happens next is just... This is, again, what Clem is looking at. And he's looking down here to try and find his reinforcements, I think. And he's like, wait, that's just a Thor. And he's like, wait a second, what are these guys? And he stims, and he's like, wait, you know what I mean? Like, he's all over the place all of a sudden. And that means that everything on the left will die. Everything down here, nothing will get away. And obviously from there, it's just a sweeping defeat, right? From there, it just continues through, and Reynor will just win the game. I really just think Clem's army just was not meant to be over there. What was it doing on that side in the first place? I think it just left from defending this bottom base, yeah. So it left from defending this base, and I think Clem's just expecting to come along to the right, but it went up and right. GG's. Reynor wins the series 3-1 in the grand finals of this ESL Open Cup. Ends Clem's win streak, and now has won as many ESL Open Cups as Clem.